everybody? It's Mark here. Hope you guys are having a great day. I love motorcycles. I mean, if you guys don't know that already, then well, now you do. I've loved motorcycles, I guess, ever since I was a little kid. I mean, motorsports in general. But I guess they never really became a reality until my dad got me my first motorcycle when I was 18. It was a Kawasaki KX125. It was a two-stroke from '91. It was old, but it was great. I mean, I loved that bike. It was in pretty good shape. I think you got it for like $450. It was a steel. We ended up doing a little work to it, and I, got into motocross and trail riding and stuff like that. And ultimately, just fell in love with motorcycles. And I don't know if you ever heard, but once motorcycles get in your veins, it's there to stay. It's at least for me, it was just one of those things that I haven't been able to get out of my system till this day. And as this is a passion of mine, I don't know, I wanted to share it with you guys. I've been riding for ever since I was 18. On and off, right? I got my first bike, and my first bike was a Kawasaki as well. It was or should I say, my first street bike, right? I told you about my first dirt bike, but then after a few years, I think 2 years or so of being in dirt biking, I moved over into getting street bikes. And at the time, I had been riding with a friend. I had a girlfriend who had a motorcycle, but she could not ride it, so she'd let me ride it. We would ride together, basically. So she had the bike, I had the experience. It was kind of a win-win. And I had friends that I used to ride with. Actually, one of my good friends now, Adam. We ride together. We rode together over the years quite a bit. And through that passion became really close. But after a few years of riding, I eventually got my first bike. It was a ZX6RR. It was a 2005. One of the first fuel-injected race bikes for Kawasaki. It was that year, 2005, and they had the RR, which was the race ready because it was 500 or 600 cc's or 599, and not the later 636, which they made more of a street-worthy bike because it had a little bit more torque than the other. But it was a 600. I love that bike. It was green and mean, and I loved it. Had that for a few years, sold it with pain in my heart, but just had a situation I was going through. I was moving in with my sister, and I needed to put a down payment on the apartment, so that was the motorcycle. And honestly, it was kind of for the best, just because I didn't have anywhere to keep the motorcycle anyways. So it was like, keep it and have the chance of it being stolen, or sell it and put that money towards something else. So this video actually captures my latest bike, I guess, of when I'm making this video, which is the YFZ R6, Yamaha's 600. Beautiful motorcycle. Just, man, I love that bike. I had that thing for 3 years. I got it brand new in 2015 and had it all the way to 2018. I think I put a total of probably 30 to 35 miles on it. It was somewhere around 52,000 kilometers. I can't remember exactly, but I put a lot of miles on that thing, and it was my daily driver for those 3 years. I actually lived in a town called Olmue with my mom and my grandmother, and traveled or commuted 40 kilometers each way to work. So 40 kilometers to work and then 40 kilometers back home, so 80 kilometers daily. And that was done on the motorcycle. And honestly, Chile is a marvelous place, and I really wanted to share this video. This is actually me on my way to work in the morning. I think it's 9:30 a.m. as you can see on the clock right above the speedometer. And I am on my way to work. And honestly, that clock may be bad. That may be wrong because I usually get to work at 9. So I think unless I was getting to work at 10 that day, I think the clock may have been off. So who knows? But the thing is, Chile, a beautiful country that it is, it has a very distinct weather pattern, which is apparently a lot like California weather. I don't know. I've never been to California, but it doesn't rain very often. I mean, you can get away with riding pretty much year long, and you know, rain to Chileans is like sprinkle. At least if you live in any more, I guess, humid states where you know that it rains for like 10 minutes, but when it rains, it pours, right? I mean, you can't even see some of the times. But here in Chile, it probably rains a max of 1 month out of the whole year. Not only that, but the climate is it's a very temperate climate. It doesn't get too hot. It doesn't get too cold either. I think the coldest it ever gets in the winter is, what, like 10 degrees Celsius, which is, I'd have to convert that. I can put it up in the video. And then I think max is, what, like 25, no, maybe like 30, 35 degrees Celsius in the summer. So it doesn't get too cold and it doesn't get too hot. I mean, yeah, you may suffer a little bit in the mornings, but if you've got good gear like I had for the winter, I mean, it's really never an issue. Like I said, the only times I did take the subway was when it was raining, you know, really hard, and I just didn't feel like taking that risk, you know. But most of the time, I would ride in the rain, and you know, no big deal, right? So this is actually a highway called the Troncal Sur, and it is a marvelous highway. Why? It's relatively new. Not only that, but there's not a lot of traffic. This is in the morning, so this is when you see most of the traffic is in the morning, and then in the afternoon on the way back home from work. And I'll you know, just try to share that some of that with you guys as well. It is an overcast day, so this is probably during the winter. So I'm probably freezing my hands off. I remember those cold days where my hands would just burn because of the cold wind, and I always considered getting some hand warmers, and I think I ended up ordering some from Amazon, and they never arrived, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, I mean, like I said, other than that though, my hands got a little red and cold because of the weather. But other than that, I never felt much cold. I mean, not enough to make me stop from riding. But yeah, Troncal Sur. So a beautiful highway, not a lot of traffic, and there's a few moments that you see me getting up to 200 kilometers an hour. You know, that's definitely over the speed limit. I think the speed limit is 120, but you know, I mean, you know, it is a sport bike. It kind of. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, that's just, you don't get a sport bike to go slow, right? I guess so. But yeah, I loved it. I mean, honestly, I don't know, for those of you who've not ridden a motorcycle or have very, you know, little knowledge of it, I have to tell you, man, motorcycles for me at least is a therapeutic endeavor. I mean, I would get to the office in the morning, and I remember watching a video about the benefits of riding a motorcycle to work, and one of them talked about you actually feeling more lively, more awake, more energetic, and honestly, I tell you, it's so true. I just the feeling of the wind going, you know, through your body, through the helmet, and just the feel of adrenaline when you just grab a handful of throttle and just go. I mean, I just tell you, it was amazing. I mean, you know, I got my fair share of weird looks at the office, but whatever, you get used to it. I mean, I was kind of suited up, so I had all the way from Alpine Star boots to, you know, a shoey helmet, and then, you know, big puffy jacket and pants and gloves, just because, you know, the weather, and just for safety as well. You know, I mean, it was my daily driver, so I made sure to invest in some good gear. But a lot of people used to call me the astronaut, which I thought was kind of funny. Either that or the Power Ranger, just because I looked like I was suited up for some sort of cartoon, I guess, or to leave the atmosphere. But, you know, safety first, and I was a big fan of riding, and I love going fast, but I think that you have to be smart and responsible, right? If you're going to do that, you got to know when and where, and also, if you're going to do it, you got to get the gear, right? You got to pay to play, is what my friend always used to say, is, you know, if you want to have fun, you better be sure that you're ready to fall, because it's not if you're going to fall, but when, right? So you just always got to be weary of that. Yeah, man, I love motorcycles. I don't know. There is a sense of, I guess, I don't know, pseudo danger. I mean, there's always danger, right? Life is full of danger. But I guess I'm the type of person that's not gonna let, you know, life get in the way of, or fear get in the way of of me living my life, right? I mean, I'm not gonna say, oh, well, what if? You know, I mean, if it happens, it would suck. And I have fallen. But you get back up again, you wipe yourself off, you keep going, and if, you know, God forbid you lose a limb, which, you know, I've met people that have, and I've known people that have, you know, had their nasty spills, you know, and God forbid that, but if it happens, you know, it's just part of it, you know, it's just part of the passion, it's part of our lifestyle, you know. I mean, I remember a friend of mine was going, you know, probably close to 100 miles an hour and flew off a cliff. And I literally thought he was going to die that day. And, you know, yeah, sure, he was in the hospital for a few months, rehabilitation, everything. He broke several bones in his body. And honestly, if it weren't for that shoey helmet that he had, which I will say again, guys, if you guys want to ride a motorcycle, make sure you get the gear. You know, I'm a lover of speed. I'm a lover of adrenaline, but, you know, make sure you're going to get the gear. And obviously the gear doesn't mean you're going to survive a high speed impact, but it sure does give you a better chance. You know, my friend, like I said, had that shoey helmet, and he hit a rock, but because of that shoey helmet, a really good quality helmet, he was, you know, not dead. And, you know, after a few months, he was back on his bike. I mean, you know, obviously you could tell he was a different man, much more cautious, but, you know, it's just part of it, you know. And I don't know that he's still riding now, because he has a few kids and, you know, he's busy with work, but I know that that's one of those things that is just in your veins, like I said at the beginning of the video. It's just one of those things that just gets in your veins. It's just hard to get out. It becomes a part of you, you know. At least it has for me. So this is Viña del Mar. We're actually arriving to, so like I said, I lived in a inland town called Olmué, which is a small rural town. Beautiful, but small. And I am now, you know, probably 30 kilometers into my journey, or 35. I'm about there, to be honest with you. But this is arriving into Viña del Mar. And Viña del Mar is a coastal city, beautiful city, where the company I worked at resides. And, you know, love it. I loved every minute of, you know, I eventually ended up moving to Viña and lived there once, you know, it was a little bit more stable and whatnot. This is coming out of the highway right here, so it's a roundabout, kind of brings all the highway traffic into the city, and then, you know, kind of splits it out, right? So you pick where you want to go. And this is actually the main road. This is Alvarez, which is on the other side, and this is Viana, I believe. So it's two roads on the other side. The road is going the other way. The two main roads, right? Alvarez is going the other way, and then Viana is going towards the city, right? Beautiful, beautiful city. And yes, lane splitting is it's not illegal. I mean, people do it all the time. The cops do it. It's not a big deal. I mean, obviously, I don't do a lot of I don't do high-speed lane splitting. You'll never really see me doing that on any of my highway videos, just because I don't see the worth in it. But I will do some city lane splitting. It is marvelous being able to just skip through traffic and get through. That said, though, people here drive very, very aggressively, so you have to be very weary of your move. You have to make sure that your transition is gonna get you to the other side and not get you on the pavement. You know, you got to be very, very defensive, very aware of your surroundings, because if not, you could be in trouble. Anywho, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Again, my name is Mark. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, I will be putting more videos like this out there, so don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you guys will be notified of when I drop a new video on the channel. Other than that, guys, hope you guys have an amazing day. And guys, never forget that life is your adventure. So make the best of it, guys.